All right, welcome back, everybody, to Game Time with John Eads. Got my guy back here, Kevin Batiste. Be sure to follow him on social media. I'm going to have to start charging you rent, I think, up here because we've had you up here so much, Kev.
It's all Southern fault. I mean, it's always something, coaching transactions, some type of drama. I mean, since I've been working here, I'm on 5 years. This is about my third head coach at Southern to cover. So,
That's crazy.
It all starts on the bluff and then it transpires down to Kevin Batiste. So
this is pretty regular then, this kind of?
Okay. It's pretty regular. Yeah.
Gotcha. Is that normal in the HBCU level?
No, it's not.
Okay.
It's not. To cover 3 head coaches, no, because you look at places like Alcorn, you still got Fred McNair. I mean, you look at other places, Alabama A&M, they got Connell Maynor and other places. I mean, so transactions happen, but this rapid, it just don't happen a lot.
Okay, interesting. Well, if you don't know what we're talking about, Southern hired its new head coach after firing Eric Dooley there at the end of the season before the Bayou Classic. And since then, they've hired who is the interim head coach, Terrence Graves, who's also been the interim at Grambling State. So there's a lot to keep track of, a lot going on. But that's the latest news. Southern has its head coach at least for the next year. What was your instant reaction to that news?
Not surprised. I'm not surprised because, if you've been around, hanging around campus, going out to some of the games, and you still see the assistant coaches still going around about recruiting, scouting guys, and you still see, Terrence Graves, still around the premises, and you get to thinking, it's like, well, the clock is ticking as far as the early signing period. That's coming up next week, and you want to have a guy in place before that time comes. And, you see a guy like Terrence Graves, who is, he's been around the SWAC for a long time. He has a lot of respect around not just Southern, well, like I said, around the conference, around HBCUs. He knows the way of the land, the ins and outs, and all that stuff. So why not give him a shot? And then that's one of the big things that Roman Banks talked about whenever he saw a candidate that has 31 years of coaching experience and see his ability to connect with the fan base and student athletes, and the coach that knows the expectations. We're not rebuilding, we're reloading. And Terrence Graves knows that. I'm not really shocked by this move, and I think it could be a good one.
I was pretty impressed by his press conference he held and just how he seemed to have such a grasp on the team and understand the importance of the game. And then in a matter of a week and a half, 2 weeks, he gets this team together, a team that had been broken, right? They lost a couple games in a row. They were in position to maybe get to the SWAC championship this year, but had those dreams kind of dissolve after the loss to Alcorn State. He rallied them together, and they went out and won the Bayou Classic.
And that's one thing he talked about in the press conference was he thinks that Bayou Classic win can be a springboard to bigger things. And, I agree with that. He's going to have to pull some guys back out of the portal because there were some guys that announced their intentions to enter the portal. But
any big names?
Kelby Givens.
Right, okay.
Defensive lineman. That's probably the biggest one. He announced his intentions. I don't know if he did enter the portal, but he's probably going to be the biggest name that they're going to try to reel back in. But other than that, Graves' press conference, man, his ability to galvanize the room. And like I said, I've covered a bunch of introductory press conferences of Southern football in the last 5 years or so. But from Graves today, he had the crowd in his hands, talking about, guys, when it comes to recruiting, of course, we're going to start in Louisiana, then we're going to go national, then we're going to go international. Heck, if they got people on the moon, we're going to recruit them. We're going to go bring them in, too. Yeah, and you can just hear people in the background. All right, now. All right, let's go with it. So a lot of excitement, especially somebody who already, like I said, knows the program, that somebody the fan base is already familiar with. So, I think we got something cooking.
Yeah, definitely. And do you think that a hire like this is maybe just a testament to how good they think Graves is as a coach, how well he did in the closing weeks of the season, or more so, maybe they couldn't find somebody externally that they were hoping to get?
It's both.
Okay.
I ain't lie, it's both because they had other candidates. I don't know who those candidates were, but there was reports that some of the candidates they backed out because they wanted top-notch level money. They wanted Power 5 level money, and Southern, whenever you still gotta pay out Eric Dooley, whatever his buyout is, and then you still got the assistants who are still under contract. And you look at the grand scheme of things, there's not really no need for a complete overhaul from Southern, because this is a football team that you look at their losses last year. Outside of Alcorn, they were in every game they lost. Alabama State, Jackson State, FAMU, Prairie View. They were in all those games. So you look at, okay, you let go of the assistant staff. You let Henry Miller go for what? His defense was at the top of the conference. Special teams, which Terrence Graves coaches, they were one of the best special teams units in the SWAC. The problems with Southern was the offense, and we all know who was controlling over the offense.
Yes,
we all know. I'm gonna leave it at that. So you fix that, get the guys out the portal, bring in some new guys, and I mean, Southern will remain in championship contention.
Yeah, I mean, it helps when you bring in a coach that's familiar with the team, familiar with the area, which Coach Graves is. And you were at that Bayou Classic game, and you just said it. I mean, the biggest problem with the team this year was the offense. The offense looked good. Maybe they had something to do with the quarterback change. I want to know, like, first-hand perspective on the sidelines at that game. What did you see that was different about how the team played, about how they executed, about how they approached the game?
The difference, I would say, there were some different alignments because Willie Titan, the quarterback coach, he was calling the plays, so that there were some different alignments as far as pre-snap and everything. Other than that, John, to be quite honest with you, there wasn't really much of a difference. I mean, maybe because of the time span, they only had 2 weeks. I mean, they had their big plays. I mean, Bowden and August Peak connected on some big plays.
I thought Bowden played well.
Yeah. He was poised for the first half. Remember that second half, if I recall, I don't think outside of Kendrick Grimes' long run in the second half, I mean, the offense wasn't really all that impressive, spectacular. So I came away from that Bayou Classic looking like, yeah, they won the game, but offensively, there was still some stuff left to be desired.
Okay.
I mean, Eric Dooley wasn't coaching the game, but the way it was going in the second half, that looked like something I had seen previously in the season. So I feel like offensive coordinator, that's going to be the key. What are they going to do? And Graves was asked about that in the press conference. He was asked what's going to be your plan as far as offensive coordinators, and Graves didn't go too much into that. He was like, we're going to evaluate it. We're going to get to that soon. But I mean, personally, as far as Titan calling the plays, I don't know about that. I don't know about that. I feel like they might need to get something, a fresh mind. Fresh mind get a young guy who wants to prove himself, bring in some modern concepts and something that can really get the offense really flowing and get something to get people excited.
It just seems like they were lacking some explosiveness. They leaned on that run game pretty heavily with Rhymes and the other backs they had, but it just seemed like when they needed to pass, obviously you're going to game plan to shut down the run if you do the run well. When they needed to pass, they couldn't. And maybe that was a Harold Blood thing. Maybe it was a Bowden thing. I don't know what it was. Do you think that's the biggest thing that held them back this year?
I mean, it was everything as far as the offense.
Okay.
I mean, it was there as far. I mean, there wasn't much modern concepts in their offense. I mean, like at least in football, you see, at least pre-snap motions. Got some movement, some type of eye candy to at least try to trick the defense. With Southern, it was screen pass, deep shot, draw. Something's like, come on, guys! Like, who are we trying to fool here? Who are you trying to fool? And then
only yourselves.
Exactly. And as far as the quarterback, I mean, I don't know. Blood. It wasn't it.
And he's in the portal.
He's in the portal. Or plans on entering the portal.
Okay.
That's what per his social media. I mean, he had issues as far as pocket awareness and decision making. The one thing I like that Noah did in that Bayou Classic as opposed to Blood was he took his chances.
Yeah.
Like one thing about Noah has some zip on the football, and I like seeing a quarterback who would rather take his chances than just sit around and just stay in the pocket and just take sacks and all that. Sure. So like I said, it all comes down to the offense. What will Graves do as far as the future of this offense? I expect another open quarterback competition in the spring and through next season. A lot of the whispers, people want to see Batiste.
Okay.
The
freshman. Tell them who that is.
Batiste, freshman quarterback, went from Scotlandville. He was redshirted. Did he see any game action this season? He probably seen it in homecoming against Lincoln, but at least
I think you got into that game.
I could have. Yeah, I don't recall if he got any action against Lincoln, but that would be the only one. But people want to see what Zay can do.
All right, check the film or something. Maybe we get some shots of him.
Yeah.
On that game footage. Okay. So, like, what should the fans be feeling right now? Should they be optimistic? Should they be, excited about this hire? Should they be happy with where the program might be headed after this season?
Yeah, I think you should be optimistic.
All right.
Yeah, that most definitely. People get caught up in the splash hires, the glitz and the glam. That's the one thing that Deion Sanders did not do well for SWAC fans. Like, people think, oh, now you need some big name, you need some guy that has all the clout and stuff that kids like. No, you don't, man. You just need someone who is just aware of the situation,
right? Someone
who knows the expectations, and Graves knows that. This is a guy he's from that Pete Richardson coaching tree. He has been at Southern. He's had 3 different coaching stints at Southern. Knows the SWAC in and out. People person, brings camaraderie. Like I said, he really galvanized the press conference. And I feel like, let's say, this is really a challenge that he's ready for. Even though he's never had a head coaching job, he said, I've been offered head coaching jobs, in the past. I've been a finalist for head coaching gigs, but it wasn't the right time. He didn't want to be a head coach just for the sake of being a head coach. He wants to be somewhere where he knows that he has a championship team. And when you say something like that, he knows, like, the talent is right there at Southern. He knows that, just you get a couple of things, a couple of nicks right here, right there, and then they're good to go.
Yeah.
And the schedule, like I said, those losses outside of Alcorn, they proved that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, if the ball bounces differently in some of those games, maybe they pull those out and they do play in that SWAC championship perhaps. I just was impressed because in the span of like 2 weeks, he put together a winning game plan. Just imagine what he could do with a full year, a full offseason, and all that stuff. Now, maybe I read it wrong, but, like, is this a 1-year thing, or, like, what did the press release say?
It is full time.
Okay.
No interim tag,
gotcha.
None of that stuff. And I was kind of under that same assumption when I heard the whispers the other day. I'm like, they're really going down this road again, because they did it in 2021. After Dawson Odoms left, they gave Jason Rollins kind of the interim tag for a full year. That's his tryout.
Okay.
Didn't turn out well, and then he came Coach Dooley. So I thought maybe they would do that again, but then, like I said, you look at the grand scheme of things, this is a guy with 30 years of coaching experience.
Yeah,
so
can't put a price on that.
Yeah, and someone.
Well, you can.
You can, and someone who like the team really likes.
Yeah.
He really has a connection with those kids. So I mean, why not go make it a full-time thing? So yeah, he is the guy. This is permanent.
All right, I think it's a great move. So now we'll just have to wait and see. Spring practice. They play spring game.
Yeah, spring game.
Okay.
That's usually April, late April. They start spring practice the beginning of April, late March, around that time. Cool. So yeah, we shall see.
It's gonna be here before we know it. So
yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well,
getting started. It's
all wrapped up and done. And Kev, we'll have you back if there's any more Southern news. I'm sure there will be. Thanks for hopping on again. Appreciate it.
No problem. Hopefully no news in the next month or so.
Yeah, we'll see.
Maybe not till the spring.
We'll see. Yeah, give you a little break or something,
Mm-hmm.
No such thing as an off season, especially not with Southern, apparently. So, all right, but Jags fans, Terrence Graves, your new head coach. We're not sure for how long, but he is the coach right now. Led the team to a Bayou Classic win, and Kev thinks you should be optimistic about where this program is headed in the future. Be sure to like and subscribe on your way out.